we might want them to be able to access different things. So I've just started the recording as well, which I realized I did not. So once again, introducing everything, we have Strapi here, which is a headless CMS. We're going to be playing around here. Today we're going to be connecting it to a front end. So last time we worked through creating a different page content, and now it's time to get that working in the real world. So I'm going to pop open Postman first. Now this is something we were playing along with the API last time. We were making API requests here, and we were getting some of this page content out. If you didn't watch the first video, I do recommend going back and watching that, because I won't be covering a lot of that here. So here we can see my requests from last time. We have localhost running on port 1337. It's hitting API pages and then one. If I remove that parameter, whoops, we've got nothing. / pages maybe. There we go. So we have / pages, which will just give us sort of a big JSON blob there. We can go / pages /1, and then that will give us page content number 1. I'm just checking out the stream, and it looks like we're having a little bit of problem. We're not dropping any frames. There we go, we're back. Okay, so this is useful. We can see our data here. We know that the CMS is producing this data onto the page or into a request, but it's pretty useless just having content that no one can look at. So when we hop back into here, into Postman, let's start having a play around. So I did do a little bit of reading outside of this, which I'll cover sort of as we go through. But for now, let's just use, we'll keep it really simple. Okay, we'll use create React app and just keep it super simple. Just try and pump some content onto the page, and we'll go from there. So this is create React app. If you haven't seen this before, it's a really simple, really useful tool for just getting a React template going. It'll shorten a lot of sort of the process that you need for that. I'm going to open a new tab in my terminal. I'm going to run yarn run. I'll just use npx. I use npx because that's what's in the docs. So npx create React app. I'm going to call this Codercise marketing front end. Okay. You can see here all the sort of information here. You don't need to install or configure anything, which is very useful. We also have starter kits, some sort of templates that you can use here. Another option actually is Snowpack, which I'll probably explore in another episode. But this is a tool that I've been using a bit lately, and I think it's pretty useful. They've got Create Snowpack app, which does very similar kind of React or TypeScript builds. But for now, let's stick with Create React app. So here we've just got yarn, create React app, Codercise, marketing, front end. Okay, so now I'm going to start this and let's see what happens. We're going to be installing some templates here. To cover off a little bit on more what we're doing, we're just going to be using the REST API for now that's returning JSON. In a later episode, I do want to go through GraphQL and figuring out how that kind of works with Strapi. Mostly because it's right here. I can see that it's here. Not really sure what it involves, what the setup involves, so we'll explore that together at a later point. Okay, we're just still installing our packages as we wait. So today's plan, we're just going to be poking around. Is this throwing an error? No. We'll just be poking around with Create React App. We'll probably use something like Axios to be able to make our requests to the backend. We'll just see what we can kind of make it do. Right. Strapi is throwing a bit of a fit at the moment as I'm creating that React app, so I'm just going to kill it for now, and we'll start that session back up afterwards. No point in causing problems for ourselves. Okay, you can hear my fan spinning probably. Right. So now I've finished with Create React App. We can see here the next thing to do is yarn start. So I'm just going to, I don't know why Strapi was throwing a fit, because I was trying to install it in the same project. So the mistake I've made there, when I ran Create React App, I did it within the Codercise marketing folder, which is where the Strapi application is. So that's just going to cause problems. So I am just going to move that up here. Okay. I'm going to restart that Codercise marketing, the Strapi build, and we'll just hopefully not have broken anything. I really hope it didn't break my other application. Cool. Okay, here it is. This is working well. Now I can go into the front end of that. So that's the Create React application. And I'm just going to run yarn start, which is going to start that development server, pop open a new tab for me. Great. So you can see here we've got a very, very simple React page, and I will even pop this open into Visual Studio as well, which you can see coming up now. So we have app.js, which is edit the code in that file, save and reload, and then that link as well, which is good, and I can prove that we're in this file. So if I just delete all of this, maybe we just do a H1, so hello from React. Great. Cool, and now we've got this. I'm just going to edit it off in another window so you can see it sort of update in real time. So I'm doing a H2 that says this is from React. I'm going to hit save, and you'll see the text change over here. So save, reloads, bang, straight away. This is a really useful little template. So now we need to be making a request, I guess, to Strapi. I did do a little bit of reading ahead when it came to permissions and learning about how it works. And I'm going to delete this file. It's called middleware.js, and we'll go through just sort of recreating it and how I came to land on that. So if I just move this out over here somewhere, oops, that's not what I want. So I'm going to delete this middleware file. There's also a security.json, which I don't think we need. I'm just going to copy both of these guys into here, delete that file as well. Great. So if we head over to the Strapi docs and we say Strapi pause settings, I guess. Okay. First of all, the reason we need to look at cause is because we're going to be making a request from the browser, and that will fail. It will fail in the short term because we don't have the cause enabled. So let's go through and add that in first. We'll use Axios. Axios is just a pretty nice little library for making HTTP requests. So we're using yarn in our build. So I'm just going to grab the yarn install or yarn add, I should say. That's going into Codercise marketing front end. It's going to install very quickly for us. Here it comes. Okay, that's working. Starting up the server again. And for now, we'll just work straight out of that app.js folder. If you wanted to use TypeScript or anything else, that's totally fine. You can also use npm. What I use is sort of what I like, not necessarily what you have to use. I'm going to say import Axios from Axios. I've been looking at doing a Dino tutorial as well, where instead of doing this sort of syntax, you import from a URL, like a HTTP URL. I'm going to look up an example API test. There is an API here that we can hit. API. Oops. Ajax test URL. Example. Where is it? API example endpoint. Can't believe we'll try Postman Echo. I don't think this is the one that I want, but we can try it. Let's just see if I put this into Postman, is that going to give me a response? Yeah, cool, it does. Well, it just returns the headers, which is all we need for now. So we're just going to make a new function in here. We'll call it API request. Cool. And then we'll just call it down here so we can see this work. Test. And we should see test in there. Cool. So we know it's working. And we'll fix up sort of how it should look a little bit later. So this is our URL. That. And that needs to be a string. Oops. There we go. Save it. Indentation. Off a bit. There we go. That's better. Now I'm just going to grab the Axios. Get request. So it'll look like this. So get the URL. And then just log the response. Okay. There's like errors in here. And finally as well. But for now, that's kind of all we need. Oh, we got a network error. Yep, great. So, HTTP bin. Cool. So if I do this, I wonder if this is going to work. I think this is the server I was thinking of. Who knows? I should have been more prepared. Okay, perfect. So this service, http:/bin.org/get, that just lets you kind of do a GET request, and it will just send some parameters back to you. You can look in the network tab on XHR. So you can see here there's some responses it gives us, which isn't anything particularly interesting. But what it does do is prove that we've installed and set up Axios correctly. You should note that that was very easy to do. Axios is a neat little library. And if you're used to kind of jQuery Ajax, this should be pretty familiar to you. But basically we're just putting in that request, and then that's the data that gets returned, and we simply log it onto the screen. So now we're going to try it with our pages. So we have, we're using HTTP because we're just on localhost, and I haven't done any setup for HTTPS yet. So we're not going to worry too much about that right now. So I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to put it into here. Now when we make this request in Postman, we get back the page data, okay? When we hop into here and we make the same request in React, this is going through our browser. Did that work? It shouldn't have worked. It did. Fantastic. Ah, I know why. The reason that worked is because I had, it was still using that config that I deleted before, so that middleware .js file. Cool. So we've got this. Refresh that. No, it still works. Fantastic. Okay. I'm very surprised. Great. All right. That is very unexpected. I did not think that would work. But that is fine. I'm just going to make sure that that's dead. Because I had to play around with this during the week and it wasn't working with cores, so I wonder if I have a setting somewhere that's going to allow that. Let's have a look. We've got roles and permissions. Remember we had to allow these things for page. The public can also associate users with roles. You can also have authenticated requests, which I think if we were ever doing kind of a real website, we would definitely want to make all of the requests to the content API to be authenticated. And the reason for that is you just don't, it's not necessarily a problem. If someone wants a website off your content, they can definitely just scrape it. But it would be really good to not make it easy for them. And for that, we would authenticate the request. We would make sure that anything coming out of the CMS outside of Strapi, coming to the front end, make sure there's a bit of a wall there so people can't just jump in and kind of copy everything that we have. Generally just good practice. You don't know what Strapi might be exposing, and it would be a real shame to have your CMS maybe get hacked or who knows what really. So great, we've got our request here, and we have our request here. Now I wonder, I was trying that on the API route before and that was not working. So that doesn't work. Okay. regardless, it seems to be working now, so that's good enough for me. Great. So now we need to be looking at rendering this response. We need to get the response data, and we need to get that out to the page. I just have to look at my notes for a second, which I'm going to have to go through another application. So I'm just going to go to the loading screen. Nothing to worry about. You get a nice song. Cool. Okay. So my notes are all here and doing well. Great. And I'm just going to pop this guy back. Okay. So here's our application. Pretty simple for now. Let's get into it. So first of all, I think what we'll do is we're just going to render out the page title and the page content. So it'll be pretty simple for now. But let's give that a go. We have some styles in here. Let's see. We're in a style sheet imported into React, but you can see it's like the text align is center. So we might mess around with these styles a bit afterwards as well. And that style sheet is just imported here. So we have our request coming in. This is good. And now we will need to render this on the page. I guess we will first, we'll use hooks here for our state. I don't think it's worth sort of making it any more complex than it needs to be. So we'll do cons, we're going to do page and set page. So we use state. Boop. Okay. This is our page variable. This is the I guess the hook to set that value. And we'll be using a state here to keep that state of the page. And this will change, I guess, as we go through. So for now, we can actually get rid of Axios. We're going to leave it in there for now, but we'll switch this over to a promise in a little bit. To I guess await async. Great. So let's kill this guy. We'll kill this whole thing. And we're not going to import that anymore. So we're going to have an async function, which will be called getPage, which will do kind of what you expect it to do. We're going to have const response equals await fetch, and then this is going to be the URL here. It just doesn't need to be a variable. It's probably better in the function as a parameter for now, and then we can look at sort of extracting that out and doing searching and filtering on that URL. So now let's keep it simple. Now that we've gotten rid of Axios, we'll just be using some native JavaScript, which would be really nice. Page will be await, the response, and the response we saw over in Postman was JSON. So that's what we're using. And then we're going to use our set page function up here. So we'll do set page. This is all very, very, I guess, kind of easy to read. We set a variable to be called response. Then we wait for this request to be done. When the request is done, we get the response, we get the JSON format from it, and we set it to this page variable. Then we update our state with set page, with that page variable, that response data here, which should be an object with an ID, page title, page content, CTA links, all of those things. Get rid of our API request function, Cool. And then, so the problem we're going to have kind of here now, if I just set a, if I do get page like this, my browser's about to die. And I didn't import use state. So let's do that. My browser might be dying. You can see here it's making a lot of requests. So I'm just going to close that tab. And you can see in the Strapi console as well that went very crazy. The reason for that is when my code was running, it would render this component. It would come down here and go, okay, there's my function, and it would run the function, and it would return some data. When this would update, it would go, oh, okay, there's new data, I need to re-render that data. It would re-render the app, which would come into here, and then run this function again, this getPage function, which is here, and it'll go, oh, there's new data. It will come back up to the top, and it will just keep going forever. Okay, so to prevent that, we're going to use the use effect, which takes in an arrow function. Here, do that. I'm just going to chuck do right at the end. New line. Cool. So what this will do is stop that. It'll do it once, and then we should be okay. There's not a React tutorial, so we won't be going in too in-depth into that right now. We're mostly just kind of skipping over this so we can get Strapi rendering on the page. I didn't import the use effect. Oops. Use effect function, which is over here. I'm actually going to swap these around so they're in alphabetical order. Just, oh no. Just so that's a bit nicer to read. Refresh. Look in my console. There is a single network request that first time, which is exactly what we wanted, and we can see here all that data that's in there. There was also a warning over here just saying that page is assigned a value but not used, which we are about to fix. So now that we have our information, it's time to start rendering it onto the page. The page title, which we know is here in our response. If this was me in the real world doing this for work, I would have this response on the right half of my screen and my editor on the other side, on the left side, and I would just be pumping through kind of all of this data to get it onto the page. That's our page title. You can see that's updated. And we can put our page content. So we page content. Great. I'm just going to zoom in a bit. I realize that's probably a little bit small for everyone. And now we can see in Chrome we have this text is rendering, which is fantastic. I'm going to pop over to app.css. That can be left. Get rid of the app logo stuff. Get rid of app header because I'm not using that either. And get rid of those keyframe animations. So we'll just say maybe there's like 40 pixels of padding on the sides. Let's see what that kind of looks like. Yeah, that's nice enough, isn't it? Top, right, bottom, left. Cool. So we have this. Coming back into app.js, we have our Postman here. So I'm going to add that CTA link in, which will be a simple link just at the bottom here, which we can put in href page dot, it is called CTA link, and then we'll just render the same thing in here, and I'll save that, which is put the Twitch channel link in here. Next we will make, I'll make a div, like a container here. I'll just call it like page content or something. Great. And I'll call this one related pages. Cool. So this will be a list, and we will do a map function in here. So it'll be, first I need to find the content, so it is related pages, and then pages. So it'll be page dot related pages dot pages dot map related page. We don't need the index for now, I don't think. This needs to be a function in here. And that should be a parentheses instead of a curly, because we're just going to be rendering some content straight out of it. So we do the related page. Oops. Cannot read property pages of undefined. Related pages. Page. Related pages. Spelling error there. Yeah. Still can't. Let's just log it up here. Actually, no, it's going to be in our component, isn't it? So we'll just get rid of that for now. Coming to our components, we have state, related pages. Let's just check this in the list item for now, just so I can see. So there's nothing in there. And if I do page dot, can I read properly length of undefined? Why is that? Found an object with keys, ID, related pages, title, pages. This should throw an error as well. It's all very strange, isn't it? Just try to render the first child. I think this will be because it is empty when we first load the page. So this should also throw an error. Perfect. So what was happening there is page.related pages was null when I would first render the page, and then that was causing the error. And then, so now we check. Won't hit this bit. Then once we know we have values in there, then we can start rendering them. So let's play around with this a little bit. Map. This function's going to get a little bit funky, and we can clean it up a little bit afterwards. Okay. Oops, I put a curly in there again. The reason we're using parentheses here is so because we're just rendering HTML. If we wanted to like declare some variables or something, we would use a parentheses. But because we're just rendering straight HTML, we're just going to do that. So we have here, that's the end of our map function. And then we've got a null, which will happen if it's undefined. And what we might actually do, what might be better, would be putting it up here so we don't even load that related pages content. What's the best way to do this? I don't think I'm going to have a function in there. That's alright. We're already kind of going a little bit long with me dawdling today, so we'll just continue on and resolve that later. Okay, how are we doing? Pages is not defined on line 26. Oops, I've used pages instead of page. And then I've done it again just there. Great. So objects, not valid as a child. Page, title. Okay. Cool. So now we have home, we have our content, we have our CTA link, and then we have our related pages down here. And we can see that's reflected if we go to home. We have home, our CTA link, page content, and then our related pages. And if I reshuffle these, so it says about and contact, I've just shuffled them, so it's contact and about. I save it, refresh the page. Oh, that didn't change. How interesting. I wonder if that request is cached. Did I not save it? Ah. How funny, it reorders it. That's fantastic. That's really good to know because you would want to be able to reorder it. You might not want it to be alphabetical order. So I've deleted one of them there, and you can see it deletes it straight away as well. Oh, I see. Okay. I can't reorder them? Very strange. There's an option here to reorder them. When I save, it doesn't let me. If I delete this one and re-add it, that didn't work. If I delete that, save it, refresh, we have one. When I go contact, we refresh. That's the ordering. Oh my goodness. That looks to me like a bug in the platform. The more I kind of do these sessions, I do find a couple of things in Strapi that I think would be much better to fix. Good sort of things to resolve. So here we have our hooks. we're rendering content onto the page, which is just a UL, list items. We've got some content here. I don't really have too much more I wanted to accomplish in this video. I'm really happy that we got onto the page. What might be fun as a little next step, I'm not sure if we can do it in 15 minutes, but we can add React Router and then use that to replace this part of the URL, this pages/1, replace it with the URL kind of in the URL bar. But for now, I've just had an idea that might be good. We're using pages/1, which we know is the homepage. Okay, we know that 1 is the homepage because we created it and we set that order. We don't always know that's what we want though. So what I'd like to look at is what Strapi offers in filtering and what that means. We can how we can sort of look up pages and what that means. So we'll hop over to Strapi filter records, queries. So we have a query object, which doesn't look like that's what we want. Have a look in the content API of the documentation. Have a look what's going on in here. This site's very slow today. I wonder if they're doing something to it or if it's my internet. While we wait for this page to load, I'm going to set these about and contact links to be the same as the path to this record, okay? So it's going to be pages and then the ID. So let's pop these onto a new line. This is kind of all happening in the component right now. I would like to see this list split out into its own component, but we won't be doing that right now. So we're going to make an href. Just for now, the text of that is going to be our content. So you can see here 2 links that is going to a hash at the moment. Next, we can do related page. We might chuck this into backticks, so we can use some variables in here. So we can say it's off the root URL pages slash the ID. So the oops. Related page dot ID. Great, so that worked. We've got our two links here, and what we will be looking at doing in probably the next video will be setting the page title here. So we have you can see there pages/about, pages/contact. But for now, we need to use IDs because that's all we have. And that's really not working. I am a little bit confused what's going on here. Cool. Oh, great. So find users having John as first name. Restaurants with price greater than or equal to 3. And these must refer to just a field that we have. You can see here the field is price and then GTE is the value. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to try and do this in Postman. So we have /pages. Now this is all of our pages here, right? Got page 1, page 2, page 3. We can chuck a question mark on it. So it'll be page title equals home. Okay, let's have a look. Page title equals home. Okay, your filters contain a field page title that doesn't appear in your model definition. I wonder if it needs to be capitalized. Aha. So that was interesting. I don't know how much I like that. I wonder if there's a case insensitive. Doesn't contain case sensitive, contains case sensitive. Not too sure. So when I did that pages lookup, I got my list of pages. When I did page title equals home, it said there was no field with that title. So then I used the case sensitive title, which gave me an empty array. That empty array is actually the correct result, and the reason it's correct is home here is lowercase, where if you look in here we have home with capital H. If we look in here, that page title is capital H as well. So what might be good to do would actually be putting a handle attribute into this field. So we're going to call it text. I'm just going to have a look again. I just want to make sure that there's not a better field type. So we have number, we have date, Boolean relation, unique identifier, UID. Is that going to be? There we go. Page title. Strapi. I love it. So this one, I'm just going to show that process again. So we have a UID, which is a unique identifier. I click onto that. I can call it whatever I want. So I'm going to call it handle or slug. No, handle's nicer. Attached field, page title, which I think what this is going to do is convert my page title into my handle. Advanced settings. I'm going to make that a required field. I'm going to finish. Okay. Saving. I don't really like that that's down there, so I'm going to put it up near the top. Great. Confirm. Pages, home, handle is home. Great. Did that work for the other pages? Contact and about. Perfect. That's exactly what we wanted. And this will appear in our requests again. So if I go handle equals home, no. Didn't work. Let's just go pages. Page title. Handle is null. It filled out all of those, but it didn't save them. Now that I've saved all of those pages, they appear. That's really interesting. So if you're creating a field that is reliant on other fields, so like I've done here with handle, it will pre-populate that data, but it will not save it to the database. That to me looks like an issue that I think will need to be added into their GitHub board. So now I can do my query, handle with a capital H equals home. There it is. I can do this for about and contact as well, I bet. Yep, about and contact. That is exactly what I wanted. So now when I come down here, I'm going to have pages / handle. And then that should be swapped out to be handle as well. And I think that'll be next time's job. Oops. Capital, always case sensitive. Great. So I think next time, I think this will be something that we look on further. Will be adding in some extra links, making the prototype clickable. Here we've shown just sort of how easy it is to get started. So I'm going to swap this out. We've got home. That should give us the same result as before. It's different. Page 0. There we go. So this syntax is going to return an array. So I'm just getting the first element there, which we can. We'll make this explicit for now. So if page.length set page. Great. Cool. So that's just pretty explicit. That's clean and readable. If there is a page, if its length is greater than 0, then just set the value to be whatever the first element is. Otherwise, we could maybe redirect them to a 404 page or something like that. Render a different component or something. Great. So now we've got our home page. I should be able to change these handles, and the page itself should update as well. Look at that. That's fantastic. So now we've got the about. This is the about page. Contact will work as well. It's the page you can contact us on, and you can see these pages down here changing. That is really nifty. Really happy with that. That was all very easy to do. I look forward to sort of exploring with Strapi a bit more as we go on. The platform still seems good. Still happy with it. I created a pull request just to update some translation issues that they were having. Seems good. That one about reordering the content is a little bit annoying, and then also the handle field not automatically updating in the database. That all seemed like things that need to be fixed. But overall happy with the platform. It is free software. It is open source, so we are able to make contributions if we want. And yeah, it seems good. So I'll wrap up here. We're coming up to an hour. Thank you for watching. Again, I know today started a little bit rough and forgot to start the recording as well, so there'll be a little bit missing at the start. We've made a nice, neat little static page here, or single page. We'll go through and create some extra pages as we go, continuing our adventure next week. Thank you for watching. My name's Nick. I'm from Codercise.com. The website is coming soon. You're watching it being built. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm Haydos585, so HAYDOS 585. And yeah, I look forward to hearing from you. Add some comments, like, subscribe, all of that as well. So thanks for your time, and I'll see you next week. Bye.